When we call functions print and range, the number of arguments that we pass can vary. If we don't pass an argument for every parameter, then the default parameter values will be used. In this lecture, you'll learn how to define your own functions that use default parameter values. Let's start by exploring help for function print. Print has several parameters. First, we pass the values that we'd like to print. Next, we pass the separator, which by default will be a space. In other words, if we print multiple values, this character would be put between them. After that, we specify end, which is the string to be displayed at the end after all of the values have been printed. And finally, optionally, we can specify the file, which is where the data will be printed, and the default is to print to standard out. Let's call print. If we don't pass anything, then a new line is printed. That's the end value. If we print just a single value, then that value is printed followed by the new line. If we print multiple values, then they're printed with the space between them and a new line at the end. Let's print 1, 2, 3 again. This time we'll have sep refer to 2 periods, and end will refer to a string, which is the exclamation mark. Those strings are used instead of the default parameter values. Now let's define a function that has a parameter with a default parameter value. We'll define a function called everyNth. The first argument will be a list, and the second will be an int. The job of the function is to create a new list with every nth item from the original. Let's implement the body of the function. We haven't introduced default parameter values yet, so both of these function calls require passing 2 arguments. Now we'll give parameter n a default value of 1, and we'll add a third example to our docstring, which calls every nth with only 1 argument, the list. Notice that the doc test passed. We called it twice with 2 arguments and once with just 1. When passing the second argument, we can also specify which parameter it's being associated with. For functions that have multiple default parameter values, using this notation is necessary in order to associate the argument with the correct parameter. Let's look at a second example where the default parameter value is mutable. In this case, there's 1 parameter and it has a default value of the empty list. This function just appends the string hello to the list and then prints the list. The first time that the function is called, the list contains 1 string, hello. That's what we would expect. However, the second time the function is called, the list contains 2 hellos. The third time, it contains 3 hellos. As you've learned in previous lectures, the addGreeting variable contains the memory address of a function object. This function object has a parameter L, and when the function definition is executed, L refers to the empty list. The first time that addGreeting is executed, L refers to the empty list, but by the end of the function call, the list that L refers to is changed to a list with the string hello. The next time that addGreeting is called, L refers to a single item list with hello, and then hello is appended to that list. So the resulting list is a 2-item list, hello, hello. The lesson to be learned here is that default parameter values are assigned at the time of function definition. When the function is called, any changes that the function call makes to the mutable objects persist from one function call to the next.